Back in Oxford today. This is a place that I first visited in 1985 when I was a college girl, and I don't think I have any photos to share from that trip, but it was a whistle-stop tour of going lots of places in Britain very quickly, so I was just here for a very short time. I've been back a couple other times, once with my sons when they were young. I know we visited here and went out on the boats, and I visited a couple other times again just pretty quickly. Today we're here for most of the day and trying to see some new things that we haven't seen before in Oxford. So I'm excited to share the experience with my husband Ian and our friends Joel and Krista, who are visiting from North Carolina. With evidence of teaching dating back to 1096, Oxford is the oldest university in the English-speaking world. It is currently considered one of the top universities in the world as well. Many visitors ask where the university is located. In fact, the university has no central campus but is spread around the city of Oxford. There are 38 colleges across the university. The first one was established in the 13th century. The colleges are independent, self-governing bodies. Each student belongs to a college, and each of these colleges welcomes students from a broad range of subject areas. In this video, I'll begin by showing you around the city a bit. Then we'll explore the university's most famous library and tour a few of the many colleges. And of course, I'll stop for lunch and Ian will get some gelato, and we'll bring you along for that as well. Here is the King's Arms, this pink pub, which claims to be the oldest pub in Oxford, but 3 different pubs claim that, so who knows. And this place is claiming to be the oldest coffee house in Europe. We met up with our friend Vic, who is a real-life Oxford student, actually grad student, getting his PhD in statistics here. And so he's showing us some of his favorite places, including Blackwell's, which he says is his favorite bookstore in the world. Okay, there we go.
Welcome to Blackwell's.
This is a beautiful bookstore. Here's the wall of fame of all the famous authors and other notable figures who have come to the bookstore. Of course, I'm so ignorant, I only recognize this guy. Wow, once you come underground, this place just expands in size to incredible lengths. Joel just discovered this important book about Otterburn, 1388, and that's an important conflict to us because we were just in Otterburn mere days ago. Is this what they would call a snicket in Yorkshire? St. Helens Passage. Just this tiny little passageway. This is the street where, when you walk down it, it's timeless. You throw a little bit of dirt or straw on the pavement, and it just looks like you've walked back in time. So you can film an episode of Lewis or Inspector Morse or Endeavour or Pride and Prejudice. I love these little back streets, they're the best. The back streets of Oxford.
The wildflowers that grow on walls are always so much prettier than they have any business being.
I know. Well, I think those are valerian, which is what you use to sleep. Although I'm not telling you to grab some and make a tea out of it because I can't be held accountable. This Victorian post office is gorgeous. And this pub is quite pretty as well. And the museum hotel next door is so tiny. But I guess it's rather wide compared to this building. Here, sandwiched in between the Endorphins Dessert Cafe and Jigsaw. This lovely architectural specimen is the Sheldonian Theatre, designed by famous architect Christopher Wren. It was built in the 1660s. I was fascinated by the stone busts along the north facade of the building, which are known as the Emperor Heads. The building today is used for theatrical productions, music recitals, lectures, and graduation ceremonies. One of the most photographed spots in Oxford is the Bridge of Sighs, officially known as Hertford Bridge. It's a skyway that connects two parts of Hertford College over New College Lane. Built in 1914, it is famous for its distinctive design and was named after the Venetian Bridge of Sighs. The original bridge in Venice got its name because it leads into a prison, and it was so named for the prisoners sighing as they crossed over it. I guess in Oxford, the sighs come from overworked uni students who've pulled an all-nighter studying for a big exam. The Ede in Ravenscroft. Menswear and academic dress. This is so posh and so Oxford. There are other things I love around the city because they are just so Oxford, like this little passageway called Logic Lane. Seeing it this year reminded me of the fond memory I had taking this blurry yet treasured photo of my son Trent in 2008 when he was just a pensive little 12-year-old lad. Boating is a significant part of Oxford's tradition, with rowing being especially popular among the university's colleges. Besides rowing, punting on the rivers Cherwell and Thames is also a popular leisure activity for visitors, especially in the warmer months. Unfortunately, we don't have time to go punting ourselves, but it's always fun to watch. Oh my goodness, there does look like there's a log jam here. Let's see how these people are going to get through. Creating travel vlogs like this takes a lot of time and effort, so if you are enjoying this content, I hope you will consider subscribing. I really appreciate your support. Oxford's libraries are among the most celebrated in the world, not only for their incomparable collection of books and manuscripts, but also for their buildings, some of which have remained in continuous use since the Middle Ages. The university has had a library since the mid-14th century. When the library opened, scholars began to come from all over Europe to read the books. They were so valuable that they were not permitted to leave the reading rooms. Even King Charles I, who asked to borrow a book in 1645, was refused permission. Today I'm going to take you with me on this tour of the most famous of Oxford's libraries, the Bodleian. There are 64 steps you have to walk up to go visit the Bodleian Library. In 1488, a new library was built above the Divinity School named after Duke Humphrey, the younger brother of King Henry V, who donated his priceless collection of 281 manuscripts to the university. Humphrey of Lancaster was the first Duke of Gloucester, and he donated his prized books and manuscripts after his death in 1447. But then, 60 years later, all of the library's books were taken away as part of the purge of all traces of Catholicism during the English Reformation. Duke Humphrey's library was a dark, cold place to study, as fire was, and still is, forbidden within the building for obvious reasons. In fact, anyone using the library still has to swear an oath today to not bring into the library or kindle therein any fire or flame. This is Duke Humphrey's library today, the oldest reading room in the Bodleian Library. The library currently functions as a reading room, though it's best to visit it on the weekends because then it is not filled with students like it is Monday through Friday. To put things in perspective, this donation of 281 books to the university in the mid-1400s was extremely generous donation. The university at the time only had 20 books, and all classes were taught via oral lectures. This was prior to the invention of Gutenberg's printing press around 1450, so back then books were hand-copied and only for the very wealthy. The ceiling of the library is covered with this image of the university's crest that has the Latin phrase, which translates into English as approximately, "God is my light." The Radcliffe camera is one of the most iconic sights in Oxford. It was the brainchild of physician John Radcliffe and opened next door to the Bodleian Library in 1737. Camera is a Latin word for room, and the Radcliffe camera is a reading room, part of the current Bodleian Library. The Divinity School is part of the Bodleian Library complex and is the university's oldest purpose-built teaching hall, dating back to the mid-1400s. The school is considered to be a masterpiece of late Gothic architecture. Exams were held here from the 15th through 19th centuries. Now the room is used for special events and weddings. We weren't allowed to go see inside on this day because it was reserved for a wedding. In addition to weddings and special events, the Divinity School is a popular filming location. It was featured in 3 Harry Potter films, as well as The Favourite, Mary Queen of Scots, and several episodes of Inspector Morse. There are about 39 or 40 colleges here at Oxford, so we shan't be visiting them all today, but we wanted to just have a chance to peek in a couple and see what it's like in some of the chapels and cloisters and the buildings that we're allowed to see. Let's begin by visiting Christ Church College, one of the university's largest and most famous colleges, known for its grandeur, history, and strong academic reputation. It was founded in 1546 by King Henry VIII and serves as both a college and the home of Christ Church Cathedral, making it unique within Oxford. The Great Quadrangle at Christ Church is the largest quad in Oxford. Cardinal Wolsey started building it but then couldn't finish it before his fall from power. Evidence of this can be seen in the foundations and arch supports around the quad that were intended to be the cloisters. Christ Church is a very popular filming location. I was excited to see the college because some of my favorite TV programs have been filmed here, including Inspector Morse, Lewis, and Endeavour. Krista is a huge Harry Potter fan, so this college was at the top of her list of places to visit in Oxford. The scenes from Harry being welcomed to Hogwarts were filmed here in the Great Hall stairs, and the dining hall was memorably used as inspiration for the stunning Hogwarts dining hall. And today, this hall is used for lunch and dinner every day, which is why we have to tour it quickly, as the hall closes to visitors in 20 minutes to prepare for the lunch service. The first dinner seating is at 6:20 and is informal, but the second one an hour later is the formal dinner seating, and everyone wears their gowns. During his time as a student at Christ Church, Lewis Carroll wrote stories for the dean's daughter, who was named Alice. So, of course, those fanciful stories became Alice in Wonderland. Other noteworthy alumni of Christ Church College include philosopher John Locke, theologian John Wesley, King Edward VII, and 13 British prime ministers.
This is the Christ Church badge, one of the crests in the fan vaulting, and every element of it is symbolic, including the red hat at the top, which is connected to Cardinal Wolsey since this is his college.
Ian has spent many long hours compiling some travel tips for Oxford, including the most interesting colleges to see, other places to visit, opening times, and costs. You can access it by clicking on the link in the description. Now let's explore the famous Christ Church Cathedral. This cathedral has been a Christian place of worship for 800 years. It is currently the chapel for the College of Christ Church as well as the parish church for the Diocese of Oxford. Although it is one of the smallest cathedrals in the Church of England, Christ Church Cathedral serves one of the largest dioceses. In this location, there was a monastery, then a city, then a university. The Bishop of Oxford is bishop over 3 counties, not just Oxfordshire. The building, dating from the 12th century, was originally the monastic church for the Augustan followers of St. Friedwald. In 1525, Cardinal Wolsey founded Cardinal College, and the church became the college chapel. On Wolsey's demise, Henry VIII took over the buildings, which were refounded as Christ Church in 1546. Serving both as cathedral to the newly created Diocese of Oxford as well as chapel to the college.
This is the largest window in the cathedral, and it is spectacular. The figure here is not St. George slaying the dragon. It's actually the Archangel Michael, and the dragon represents Satan. This chancel has one of the most amazing vaults anywhere in England. It was created by stonemasons in the 14th century. Everything was carved by hand. It's just phenomenal craftsmanship. This chair here is the cathedra, which of course is why this is called a cathedral, because the cathedra is the seat where the bishop sits. This is the oldest stained glass window in the cathedral, and it's a very special one because in the middle it shows the scene of Thomas Becket's murder. The window is actually quite fascinating. These bottom 3 panes have bits of glass that are from smashed church windows in London that were bombed, that were retrieved and put together in this kind of mosaic. Above that are these golden windows that feature the saints, St. Blaise and St. Cuthbert. I was just in Northumberland last week, so Cuthbert is top of mind. And then, of course, the Becket window is particularly interesting for me to see now that I've finally been to Canterbury Cathedral. This window is from about 1320 and is a really important historical marker of the period. I'll include a link to my Canterbury Cathedral blog in the description. This knight's tomb is quite large. Ian says the animal that's his pillow is a cow. I'm not sure it is. And here under the knight's feet is an animal I also can't identify. Ian said it was an otter, but I think he was just teasing me. It kind of looks like a seal's head with then the arms of a dog. This is the Lady Chapel, and like is the case in many cathedrals and churches, it is a beautifully embellished and decorated chapel. This chapel is of particular importance here in the cathedral because it is where Holy Communion is taken every morning at 20 to 8. The window is only from 1872, which is pretty new in the scheme of things. It's done by Edward Burne-Jones, so it's a beautiful example of pre-Raphaelite art. And I recall seeing his work in other cathedrals. I believe the Church of St. Martin's in Birmingham, if I'm remembering correctly. This bit of painted vault right here is from the early 14th century and shows a little view of what the cathedral vaulting would have looked like originally when it was all painted in bright colors. These cloisters were built in the mid-1100s when this location was a monastery. In the 1980s, it was discovered that people were buried here back 1,200 years ago. This is the chapter house with a beautiful Norman doorway. You can tell how old it was because this darkened bit is from a fire that happened in 1160. This is a beautiful chapter house. It's interesting to imagine all of the priests and bishop meeting in here. To conclude our visit to Christchurch, I'll show you a little then and now photo collage from here in the Christchurch War Memorial Garden. This shows Ian and me standing in this spot in 2018 and again in 2024. This is the covered market where we're about to eat lunch. That's amazing that the covered market has been around since 1774. Going to celebrate 250 years of the covered market by having lunch here at the Pie Minister because my friend Krista loves pie. I was going to get the Kevin, but now I might want the Heidi. When we eat at a Pie Minister, we like to share a mothership, which is a pie on top of cheesy mash with minty mushy peas, crispy onions, and gravy. And because Ian is with me, we have to go find gelato in Oxford. So here's allegedly the best gelato shop in Oxford, Swoon. Oh my goodness, that's like a mountain of gelato. Pistachio Peak is what I'm gonna call that.
I think I'm gonna be ill after eating this, but in a good way.
I'm just having the Amareno cherry cheesecake because I had 6 puddings last night, so I gotta pace myself today. I'm detoxing. So Krista is enjoying 2 flavors of gelato here at Swoon. The pistachio and the what else?
Chocolate brownie.
Chocolate brownie, you're disappointed by that?
It's good. It's too sweet.
It's too sweet. Okay, but your assessment of the pistachio is
hands down the best I've ever had.
oh wow,
Better than Venki.
better than Venki, which is Ian's favorite gelato shop ever, located in London. Oh, okay. So this is St. Edmund's College, but you are in
St. Peter's College.
and that's your rival.
The historical fact is that we are the College of St. Peter's Chapel in I guess it would be the west, and this is the College of St. Peter's Chapel in the east.
Ah.
So our sports teams always, circle that date on the calendar.
I see. So it's a rivalry, an east-west rivalry, like Biggie and Tupac Shakur.
Something like that.
Now we are headed into Magdalen College. Maybe.
Magdalen College is one of the most prestigious and picturesque of Oxford's many colleges. It was founded in 1458 by the Bishop of Winchester. Notable alumni include author C.S. Lewis, a favorite of mine, as well as the very witty and clever Oscar Wilde. The college features extensive grounds, including a deer park, which we very much enjoyed visiting. C.S. Lewis taught here in Magdalen College for 29 years. Okay, the faces on these grotesques are just wonderful. They're so funny. The vaulting and bosses in this porch are incredible. The Magdalen College Chapel was built in the late 15th century and features beautiful Gothic architecture, including a very intricately carved reredos and many stunning stained glass windows, some of which are a unique monochromatic style, which I found really fascinating and rather moody. The chapel is most known for its renowned Magdalen College choir, and we were lucky enough to visit the chapel on a day when the organist was practicing. Now we are going to go and check out Keble College. John Keble was an English clergyman, poet, and one of the key figures in the Oxford movement, which sought to revive Catholic traditions within the Church of England. He is best known for his collection of devotional poetry called The Christian Year. Keble College here at Oxford was named in his honor and founded in 1870, 4 years after his death. It was established to provide a more affordable Oxford education while promoting high church Anglican values. The college is known for its distinctive red brick Victorian Gothic architecture, and at the time it was harshly criticized for not being appropriate for an Oxford college. And a pejorative nickname that it has developed is the lasagna because of the layers of red and tan. But I think it's absolutely beautiful. I loved exploring the chapel as I thought it was a beautiful example of Victorian religious architecture. I mentioned John Keble in my travel vlog of Eastleach in the Cotswolds, an area where he grew up and served as curate in the 1820s. I'll link to that video in the description if you are interested in him or the Cotswolds. I hope you enjoyed this little day trip to Oxford today. Please check out one of these other videos of some of our other British adventures. Thanks so much for watching, and do something good in the world today.